Welcome to Live, Life-Inspired Views for Every Day. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul. Last week, my friend and colleague, Dr. Jenna Harderson, and I presented at a conference on toxic positivity in the workplace. We laughed when we were preparing as we decided to introduce ourselves by saying our name and then saying together, "And we are positively toxic. We are part of the problem." Well, that's because we are both so very positive. Well, that's what I want to talk about today. Being authentic, but really trying to look at the possibilities of good in every situation. We walk along this road called life one time. Why should we waste so much energy on the negative that saps our energy? Why not focus on finding the good in anything, which can then lead us to more purpose, meaning, and energizing our spirit? I don't think it means that we have to be like a Pollyanna and see everything through rose-colored glasses. That's not real. I just think we can adjust our focus and take control of our attitude. So the danger in writing these kind of podcasts is that you often have to eat your own words. And then that happened to me yesterday. I had almost finished writing this whole podcast, and I lost the document. My system is getting too full, and everything froze, and I lost all that I had written. Where are you going to find the good in that? Especially when you have a broken right wrist and you cannot use a keyboard. I hope you're feeling really sorry for me right now. And that's just kidding. But as most writers know, the second time you write something, it's often better. See, already found something good in that nasty experience. I decided to shut the computer down, and my husband took me to dinner. And you know what happened there? Because of that timing, I ran into a college classmate, Jean Neuwohner, who I hadn't seen for nearly 50 years. It was the most wonderful reunion. Proof that what I'm writing about today is true. Almost all situations can hold elements of good if they are looked at through the lens of possible goodness. If I had completed writing the podcast, I would have missed seeing Jean and his wife Cheryl. I mentioned the book Ireland before by Frank Delaney. It tells of a young man in search of his long-lost father. One evening, standing outside a pub, frustrated with the endless roadblocks, he shares his troubles with a kind listener. Finally, the woman asks him, what's the good news inside it? There's always good news wrapped up in bad news. That reminded me of the story about a man who was the sole survivor of a shipwreck, washed up on a small uninhabited island. Every day he prayed that God would rescue him, and every day he scanned the horizon for help and always saw nothing. He eventually managed to build a little hut out of driftwood to protect him from the wind and the rain and to store his few possessions. Well, then one day, after scavenging for food, he came home to find his little hut in flames, the smoke rolling up to the skies. The worst had happened. Everything was lost. He was stunned with grief and anger. "God," he cried, "how could you do this to me?" Early the next day, however, he was awakened by the sound of a ship that was approaching the island. It had come to rescue him. "How did you know I was here?" asked the weary man when he came aboard the ship. "Well, we saw your smoke signal," they replied. Remember that the next time your proverbial little hut is burning to the ground. Just might be a smoke signal, and good may come of it. Richard Rohr says, "Our task is to find the good, the true, and the meaningful in everything, even and most especially in the problematic. The bad is never strong enough to counteract the good." 2 weeks ago, Anne Frank would have turned 88 years old if she had lived. She once wrote, "In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. I simply can't build up my hopes on a foundation consisting of confusion, misery, and death. I see the world gradually being turned into a wilderness. I hear the ever-approaching thunder, which will destroy us too. I can feel the sufferings of millions, and yet, if I look up into the heavens, I think that it will all come right, that this cruelty too will end, and that peace and tranquility will return again. This week, on your bathroom mirror, write this quote by Voltaire: "Life is a shipwreck, but we must not forget to sing in the lifeboats." Join me next Monday for Live, Life-Inspired Views for Every Day. I'm Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul.